Taylor with the pick. They win the World Cup in 2006. Sidney Crosby, the golden goal.
Welcome back to the Gameplan Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Porter. Joining me tonight, Remy, Connor, Dylan. Thank you guys for coming out. Today's episode is sponsored by our good friends at Mono. Get your quality microphones and accessories, top-notch stuff. Get a full microphone kit for about $65-$70. It's a pretty good deal. And if you use the code GAMEPLAN or click the link in the description, you'll save yourself 5%. Good friends at Mono. Check it out if you're interested. But getting into the episode now, we have hockey playoffs inbound, basketball playoffs. We'll get into basketball later on. First, we'll start off with hockey. I know you guys don't follow hockey too closely, but we'll start off with just the games as a breakdown. The St. Louis Blues and Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets took that game 5-3. Avalanche and the Stars. Avalanche, no surprise, winning the game 5-1. They're still one of my top favorites to win the Stanley Cup. Devils and the Hurricanes. That was a game I watched. I expected the Devils to come out strong. Ended up losing 4-1. The Wild and the Golden Knights. Golden Knights took game 1 4-2, as well as the Canadiens and Capitals are game 1 underway tonight. 2-0 Capitals at the end of the second period. Going into the Senators and the Leafs, I'm sure that's a game we all watched. Dylan, tell me what you saw out there. We know it was a killer of a game for Toronto, 6-2 the final score. What did you see?
I saw Mitch Marner getting physical out there. That doesn't usually happen in the playoffs, and you can just see he's putting his body out, and the team played good together as a whole. Like, they really clicked together, I feel. Mitch Marner had a nice little breakaway goal there. Shot at bar down, so that really electrified the team, I feel. And, of course, Matthew Nyes, one of the top players on the Leafs, scores again. Once again, I hit my parlay. 25-145. Let's go.
Connor, what did you see?
Yeah, very high-intensity game. They came right out the gates, swinging arms, going at full aggressiveness at each other, body slamming each other to the boards and everything. So it's finally playoff NHL season. This is the type of stuff we should be expecting. It was a really interesting game. We were up 2-0 to start off the game, then it became 2-1. And
it started off as a closer game, but as the game went on, you could see Toronto was absolutely dominating. The thing that really highlighted it for me is I talked about it before. This Ottawa team is a grit team. They're going to come out with the big hits. And when the Leafs started this game, they were throwing big haymakers. And that's what you want to see from this Leafs team. You want them to be aggressive. You want them to come out with grit. And you want to have them put their flag in the ground and say, yo, this is our fucking arena. We're going to fucking win. Remy, what did you see for the Leafs and Senators game?
Hold up. First of all, you said the Senators were going to win the series.
Well, hey.
Based off this first game.
This is what I'll say about it. I think goalie is still going to be the X factor. I thought Allmark was going to play way better than he did. It was not like him to let in 6 goals, but if Toronto's goaltending and defense can stay the way they have, this could be a 5-game series.
I'm just going to say Stolarz, watching the game, I feel a lot more comfortable when he's playing.
He looked really good.
He
Again,
looked great that game.
It's only game 1, but you got to think they're starting in Toronto, so the home atmosphere playing in Toronto is obviously going to help the team a lot.
No, Stolarz is an amazing goalie.
He played very good.
But I'm going to say there was one goal he did let in that I think he should have had under control. It was a rebound around the net, and then he was kind of like playing around with the stick and his glove when he should have just put his glove on it, and then someone else poked it into the net. That got me a little bit heated, but at that point we were still in the lead. So
they were still up by a big number.
Yeah, I let it go.
He had a solid game 1, but I think, like I said, I think it's going to be a long series. He's if he plays the same well that he did game 1, I think he'll be all right.
John Tavares, with a goal and an assist, I just want to point that out as well. He's been on a tear lately, and he's really proving that contract.
If you look at the Leafs' big 3, Marner with 3 points, Matthews with 2 assists, William Nylander with 2 points, Austin had 6 shots on goal. They did. Tavares with 6 shots on goal. OEL, who I did not think would come out with a point in the first 2 games, came out with 4 shots and a goal. So that was surprising for me. Remy, what do you think?
Honestly, I thought it was an interesting game. I'm glad they won. Didn't expect that to happen. Didn't expect Marner to do what he did. Happy Tavares actually showed us that his contract's worth something. Maybe he'll come back next year. Maybe he won't. I don't know. All I'm saying is I'm glad that we showed one physical game, but it's just the beginning of the series. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I'm glad we're on a hot start, but we need to show that finish. And I'm excited to see what we can do. I'm glad that Nylander's finally showing up for us because, he doesn't always show up for us. And
Yeah, one player I want to highlight, Brady Tkachuk, who had 5 shots on goals, no points, no assists, no goals. That was really surprising for me. Tim Stützle, 3 shots, no points on the board for him either. Those are going to be Ottawa's 2 key fact players, as they're the top 2 players on that roster.
You hear the Brady Tkachuk you suck chants?
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. USA player playing in a Canadian team, Canadian market. I'm not surprised at all. But these 2 really have to show out if Ottawa's going to have any chance at winning against this team. I mean, like I said, if Toronto keeps playing the way they're playing defensively and offensively, physically, it's gonna be a good series. Like I said, it might go 5 games, which would be good for Leafs fans. Nice to come out without a Game 7 for the first time in however long it's been.
Yeah, I just want to point out too that both defenders, 2 defenders in one game from the Maple Leafs had a goal. OEL and then what's his name, Morgan Riley.
Yeah, they were putting lots of shots on the net, and that's what you want to see.
Yeah, that hasn't happened since 2008 for the Maple Leafs, so. Kind of nice to see right now.
Yeah, no.
I know we've had some pretty good teams in the past, but I'm really feeling confident with the Maple Leafs this year. I think the finals is going to be Maple Leafs versus Edmonton Oilers. I know Charles Barkley had the same opinion as me, but it's kind of hard.
Yeah, what does that guy know about hockey?
Don't know if I trust that guy, considering he can't win his own sport.
I don't know if I trust that guy on the hockey.
Don't know how far I trust that guy.
I don't know if I trust him on his hockey knowledge.
If he can't even win an NBA,
and exactly, we know he's capping his ass off for that.
No.
I can name 30 players better.
Charles Barkley is in the top 75 best players in the league.
Oh, because we know that list means everything.
I don't mean to turn this into a basketball debate, but he knows
we're not going to turn it into a basketball debate because we're not even talking about basketball. No, but. No, I don't care what he. I don't care what he said.
I'm talking about basketball.
Yeah, you weren't talking about You were talking about Charles Barkley.
I'm trying to transition it to hockey again. He said Edmonton Oilers versus the Maple Leafs because I think it was the Florida Panthers back in 2021 when they lost in the finals and they came back the next year even stronger. He said that the Edmonton Oilers lost last year. Even though they should have won last year, they have that in their mind that they should have won. And they're going to come with full force towards the Maple Leafs, who are going to be in the finals this year.
Assuming the Leafs win the first round, they're still going to have to either play Florida or Tampa. I don't hate the Toronto team, but look at it realistically.
Yeah, I don't mind Tampa too much. I can't lie.
Tampa is still a very good team. They picked up Jake Gensel the last year or so. They lost Steven Stamkos, but they still have Braden Point. They have Kucherov, who's been a 100-point season when he's healthy throughout his entire
late career. Isn't that the team that we beat in the first round last year?
Yeah, off the fluke. The fluke goal, but Tampa,
getting better as well.
They lost Stamkos, but this was still a dynasty only 2-3 years ago. So they still have one of the best goaltenders in the league in Vasilevsky. Tampa is not to be taken lightly, as well as even if Florida wins that, you don't worry about Tampa. That's still defending champions, who we know who Florida has, who just beat the Leafs last season.
Listen, this is the best Maple Leafs teams we've had since '93, probably, when we should have won back in '93 with Matt Sundin and all those people. But this is the best team.
Can you name those people?
Why are you putting me on the spot, bro?
I wanted to test your knowledge.
That's what I read. But anyways, yeah, best team we've had in so long. I'm feeling so confident with our team right now.
Who do you think's coming out of that series, Tampa or Florida?
The only team that could beat us is the Edmonton Oilers.
I mean, like I said, Colorado still has my favorite. So say it's like Leafs and Colorado in the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm taking Colorado. Nathan MacKinnon is probably third best player in the league. Yeah, he is one of the most dominant players we've seen the last couple of years. Colorado just won it a couple of years ago. You cannot count out Nathan MacKinnon.
Yeah,
who do you think's coming out of the? Who do you think's coming out of
Cale Makar, probably the best defenseman in the
Makar's
league.
The best defender, but listen.
And Mackenzie Blackwood had a very, very solid season as well.
McKinnon's the third best player in the league, but Austin Matthews is kind of on the same caliber of player as Nathan MacKinnon.
Arguably, yeah. I'd put them in the same convo, but I'm still taking Nathan MacKinnon.
You're taking Nathan MacKinnon, and they do have Maker as well, but I would say
Makar.
We have a better. Man,
Makar.
This host, guys. Anyways, we have a better supporting cast, I would like to say, than the Avalanche. You have 2 really good players, but then you also have Kadri as well, which is also a really nice player as well. But
they have Jonathan Drouin, who's been a decent depth player.
But we got Tavares, McKinnon. Oh, sorry, not McKinnon.
Yeah, you fucking wish. The Leafs have had the same. The Leafs have the same core for the last however long, and they still haven't been able to get it done.
We got a new goalie, so it's different now.
Yeah, but a goalie is always the X factor for the Leafs, and it's only been one game, and these guys don't really have much experience in the playoffs. So when you go up against 2 teams who have won the Stanley Cup, one who was already a dynasty just a couple of years ago, it's going to be very different for the goaltender when he's facing completely different competition.
Who do you think's coming out of the Lightning game?
That's tough because I think Florida could go on a repeat.
Yeah,
to be
especially
honest.
with
I think they could beat Tampa. I think they could beat the Leafs if the Leafs play Florida again. I think Florida would take that series. And then depending on who comes out in the other half of the bracket, Florida is a really good team to watch. They had a good.
What about Pittsburgh? Oh shit.
All right, buddy. I mean,
Florida with Brad Marchand too.
we already had our dynasty. Nice to see the Leafs have a dynasty, but they can't even get to past the second round. Barely even the first round. So
We'll
What
see
about
it
the
after this
Sabres?
year.
Oh, the guys who didn't even make the playoffs? Yeah, you don't want to go into that.
Yeah, Owen Power got injured, so
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. That didn't matter. The Sabres are not a good team and haven't been for a long, long time.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Only if they had a healthy team, they'd be different though.
Yeah. So NHL playoffs coming in bound. Good, exciting to see what happens. Game 2 of the Ottawa Senators and the Toronto Maple Leafs is, I believe, tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, as well as the Florida,
Wednesday.
the Panthers and Lightning Game 1 is also tomorrow. So that's going to be a fun series to watch. Basketball. We know Game 1s have been underway. Game 2 of most series are happening tonight. Quickly go through them. The Pistons and the Knicks. Game 2 is going on right now. Game 1, we know who took that one. Remy, was there any surprises with New York taking the first game?
Honestly, not really, considering they have a stronger depth to their team. I was just hoping for the Pistons, just to give them, a little bit of, because they're the underdog in the series. When's the last time they've actually made the playoff? It's been a while. And, with the whole team, with Tobias Harris being added this year, and Malik Beasley, I'm just really happy to see what they can do this year, especially with the Starcade. He should definitely win Most Improved. Even though I know he had a fantastic year last year, you don't want him to really consider it a Most Improved. I'm hoping that the Pistons win, and at this point in time, they're up 64-53 in the third quarter with 6 minutes left. So I'm hoping they win.
Yeah, it's looking good for Pistons. Now, this is going to be a good series. I think this series will go either way. I think it goes 6 or 7 games.
My guess it'll be the closest series in the playoffs besides the Warriors and the Rockets.
Yeah, I think the Knicks have the advantage just because of the depth and the star players they have and the experience over the Pistons. Connor, what do you think?
The Knicks are obviously the favorites to win this series, but I'm always a fan of the underdog, except for the Magic series. But in this series,
It's okay, buddy.
In this series, yeah, they have Kat, they got Jalen Brunson, they got the whole Villanova boys together right now. They got
Except DiVincenzo, who they traded.
but that's.
Oh yeah.
I think that was worth the trade.
Maybe.
Get
rid
of Julius Randle for
Yeah.
Towns.
They have a lot of chemistry on that
Top 5
team.
center, so I think they won that trade, obviously. But I'm a fan of the underdog. I want to see Cade Cunningham. He had a great year last year. It was just the team around him couldn't perform, and I believe a big issue of that was the coach of Monty Williams. So I'm glad that they have JB Bickerstaff right now, kind of leading them to the playoffs and everything. He's had some experience in the playoffs, so I really want the Pistons to win, and I want to just see the reaction on the Knicks fans' faces today when the Pistons beat them, as they're up 13 right now going into the fourth quarter. So
These are two teams I really hate, so I don't even care who wins. I hate the Pistons, and I hate Jalen Brunson. He has such a punchable face. Dylan, what do you think is going on in that series? Game 1 thoughts.
Listen, so the Knicks came out and Pistons are up right now, but I think I got the Knicks taking it, to be honest. The pairing with Kat and Jalen Brunson, I think, is just too lethal for them to be a first-round exit.
In the first game, Brunson had 34 points. Kat had 23. OG had 23.
OG's also a
If
good
OG
playoff
can go
performer.
off, I think the Knicks could take it
How
even
Mikal
5
do?
games. On the other side, Pistons in game 1. Tobias Harris had 25. Remy talked about him. He's going to be a really good player for the Pistons if he can get into what he once was. For the Sixers, Cade with 21 and 12. Tim Hardaway Jr. for 19 points and Malik Beasley for 20.
How did Mikal Bridges do?
Mikal Bridges in game 1 had 8 points. So he's got to do a little better offensively. I can't pull the stats right now because it's not loading on the current game, but Mikal Bridges really has to put in the two-way that they traded him for. He has to be a good defensive player, and he has to be able to score the basketball.
Exactly.
5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges.
Yeah, you expect him to be doing a lot better than he is. Another game 2 that's happening tonight is the Nuggets and the Clippers.
That's a good series.
Connor and I watched game 1. That came down to the wire. All I want to say is Westbrook almost choked that, but getting to that a little off, I'm not surprised the Nuggets won. Is anyone?
Well, let's just talk about James Harden's performance. He was going off that game.
Harden and Kawhi played very well. Kawhi in the clutch in the fourth quarter, in the couple last minutes, he played really, really well. But again, you
the
have
Nuggets, though.
the Nuggets have so much depth, players to rely on. When they had the guy, what's his name, Braun, I think, he hit a clutch ass 3-pointer from someone you wouldn't even expect to do that. You know, the Nuggets' depth.
He's had a solid season.
Yeah, but they can have players who aren't star players come off the bench and do stuff. You know, drop points, and not every team is able to have players like that on their squad. Remy, what do you think?
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched the game at all, but
Name another player on the bench other than Christian Braun. Since you said there's players. That
they didn't even run a deep rotation. Jalen Pickett had 5 minutes. Peyton Watson with 14 minutes. If you look at their starters, Aaron Gordon 46 minutes, Nikola Jokic 46, Jamal 48, Christian Braun had 45 minutes.
But that's because they also went to overtime too. So
Yeah, that's true. Westbrook with 34. I was surprised when we were watching the game. MPJ had a terrible game. MPJ had 3 points in 26 minutes. But again, that's
Another dude banned on my betting list.
That's supposed to be one of the guys who will come out and drop 20 for you. And then
You guys
Christian
are
Braun
forgetting-
is able to come out and do that for him.
You guys are forgetting about two very key players for this team. Julian Strawther and DeAndre Jordan. I know DeAndre Jordan's bounced around the league, but he's a great defensive presence off the bench to substitute for the fact that Jokic does not have good defense, even though he's a great all-around player. And then Julian Strawther's a great small forward off the bench for them. So honestly,
Jordan,
I
who's 40
do,
years old.
yeah,
I don't know,
but,
I don't know how well he's going to do,
he's-
but
He's still better than Jokic's defense. Jokic doesn't play defense. He
Jokic
gets
is a
bored,
pile
but
on defense.
Connor, when you're watching the game,
Yeah.
last couple of minutes.
that's what I mean. But I'm trying to say, personally, I'm taking the Nuggets when you have a Jokic on your team. You're never gonna really be out of that tournament. And you also got Aaron Gordon, who's doing pretty well lately.
AG had 25 points and 8 boards.
That's what I mean. Like you got the defensive end with him. Like you got those two guys in the paint. I'm pretty secure with Jokic. Anyways, getting back to the point. The reason why I'm not taking the Clippers is because you've got a Kawhi who's been very non-consistent. I wish he was more. I'm happy he's coming back and he's playing well. James Harden's obviously like someone to be reckoned with. Like he's insane. He's the ISO player. He does what he needs to do, but he just does what he needs to do. So I'm taking the Nuggets this series just because of Jokic. You can't ever count Jokic out. He'll always make that play. He'll always do what he needs to do. He's not like the SGA of the league where he's going to have to go to the free throw line. He makes the play on the court, and he earns it. So I'm taking the Nuggets this series.
Yeah, watching the last few minutes of the game with you, obviously, I was just surprised that Russell Westbrook played as many minutes.
Why are you putting Westbrook on in the last 3 minutes of the game?
Oh, yeah.
There was a play where the Nuggets could have won it without even going to overtime. Westbrook has the ball. He could give it a simple oop or inside pass in the paint to Aaron Gordon for an easy dunk, and he doesn't do that. He bounces it off Kawhi, thinking it's going to go out of bounds or something.
Could have at least shot that and gone for a rebound.
Yeah, there was
had a little chance to make that shot.
He choked the clutchness so hard in that game. I was actually laughing on how bad Westbrook played. Even in overtime, he missed a lot of clutch moments on defense as well. Luckily, though, he got the tip in the last minute, which gave the Nuggets the ball back and secured the win for them.
Yeah, exactly. He has some bad moments. He has some good moments. Like I saw something online where it's like Russell Westbrook's kind of like the mystery cube in Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Where you never know what you're gonna
You don't know
get.
what you're going to get when you hit him.
So he does have some clutch moments. Not clutch, but like he has some good moments, and then he also has some bad moments that might overshadow it. But I'm surprised he got that many minutes, especially when you have Christian Braun on the bench that you probably should have played over him. Like, I think it should be Christian Braun, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, Jokic, who's getting at least 40 minutes each game, especially in the playoffs. But, yeah, I'm surprised that I'm not surprised. I had a feeling the Nuggets were going to win, but the Clippers do have a lot of game enders who I think they should have passed the ball to, like James Harden. We know about 2019 James Harden. I know he's a little bit of a different player now. He's more of a playmaker and all that, but he's still clutch in my eyes.
He made a lot of clutch shots.
Oh, very clutch.
He made a lot of floaters in the paint. Like that's all you got to do. He's either doing a step back to the three, or he's driving to the paint, shooting a floater over your big.
Him and Zubac are a nice duo.
Yeah, Zubac with 21 points and 13 boards. He did really well. What two players I want to highlight? Ben Simmons actually had 13 minutes of play, 0 points, 2 assists, and 2 rebounds for Ben Simmons, former Rookie of the Year. I'm surprised he even touched the court at all. Norman Powell with only 12 points in 37 minutes. Norman Powell, if the Clippers want to have a chance at taking this series, not only do Kawhi, Zubac, and Harden have to go off, but Norman Powell has to go off as well, especially from three-point, because that's what he specializes in. So I was surprised and disappointed to see Norman Powell not play very well and contribute to how the Clippers played.
We know Norman Powell can do what he can do.
We know he's a good three-point shooter.
When Harden and Kawhi and Paul George were out of injuries, Norman Powell's averaging 24 points per game. I'm pretty sure upwards of 20 points per game. We know he could be the man on his team. He was snubbed from the All-Star team. Everyone thinks so. The Clippers also have Zubac, as we were just talking about, who should have been, or who he is, Defensive Player of the Year candidates. So he's really good big. He's kind of like that Dwight Howard of the Lakers when they were playing the Nuggets, as our host would say.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far, but
he's that defensive guy who can guard Jokic. So hopefully they play him.
In my eyes,
Remy.
Don't worry, Remy. You'll get the talking stick soon.
So hopefully they play Zubac a little bit more. And we've all seen Kawhi Leonard on the Raptors. He's that guy to end the games as well. Give the ball into his hands, and he will make those fadeaways, those middies. His middies are like, DeMar DeRozan-esque, Jordan-esque. People were comparing Kawhi Leonard to Jordan in 2019. I think this is the first time we've seen Kawhi in the playoffs since 2020. So it's going to be nice to see what he can do finally for his team in the playoffs, and hopefully they make it farther than I think they went to the conference finals in 2020, and then they choked to the Nuggets from a 3-1.
Moving on to the next game, Warriors and the Rockets. We know how exciting of a series that was going to be. Low scoring, if I'm being honest. I thought the game was going to go over 100 points. Warriors took game one 95-85. Dylan, what did you see from that game? I know you were really excited about the series.
I saw Stephen Curry just completely taking over, man. He was making back-to-back insane shots.
31 points for Curry.
Just a great game. And Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, man.
Yep, 25.
Playing insane. I actually saw Steve Kerr say after that game that Jimmy Butler is one of the best playoff players to play.
Yeah.
So
he had a really good game.
Interesting. And I want to point out another thing. Jalen Green underperformed badly that game.
Yeah, 6 boards and 4 points.
It got to the point where they subbed him off in the clutch, and it was just brutal, man. You're usually supposed to have your heavy good players in the clutch, but they didn't put Jalen Green on in that.
Well, this is a big defensive Rockets team as well. So Draymond is good with the small ball, but this team runs big. When you put Draymond on Sengun, we saw him get a little chippy in the game. Sengun is winning that battle every time.
That Sengun poster, bro,
yeah.
That shit was crazy.
Sengun, 26 points, 9 boards. Sengun is going to win that battle every single time in the paint.
That poster off the rip was...
It was disgusting. He started off the game at 7 for 10 at one point in the game. Watching him play is really, really exciting. Remy, were you surprised by the outcome of the first game?
Not at all, because when you have a team with Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler on it, especially with Buddy Hield as their supporting with the 3-point shot.
I hate to see Jimmy Butler dribble the ball, bro.
No, the thing is what I would have to disagree with is the fact that with
or Buddy
what
Hield,
was it
with
Fuck. No, with Houston. With Houston. No, it's Houston. It's I expected them to play like that. They're not that player. Also, with Jimmy, I expect them to play like that. I expected Jalen Green to play like that. He doesn't have that much playoff experience. He's not that guy. He doesn't have that deep playoff run experience. He's not gonna. I just don't feel like they're gonna make it that far. With Jimmy Butler, I just don't feel that he's actually that playoff guy. Because when you're he's temporarily that playoff guy, but the only reason why he would win a finals is because of Steph Curry, because he's that guy that can finish it. Jimmy Butler's not a playoff guy. He plays better when he's in the playoffs, but he chokes in the finals.
I want to look though. When you look at the Rockets, big players that you think of who helped them in the regular season play as well as they did. Amen Thompson, we know 8 points in that game one. Fred VanVleet 10 points in 40 minutes. Jalen Green 7 points. We're obviously seeing a very lack of experience. I thought Fred VanVleet has to do better. He has to go and he has to drop 20.
This is who the Timberwolves need. They need Fred VanVleet.
Okay, we know. We already went into this. It's an insane trade that is not worth it for Timberwolves.
What not to take. He's showing everyone what not to take.
And when we go over the Timberwolves, you can make that dumbass point again. But like I was saying, VanVleet has to go out and he has to play well. 10 points in 40 minutes for a player who's won a ring in Toronto, who's been there before, who's been through everything, and has been able to perform at such a high level in intense moments and intense games. 10 points in 40 minutes is not going to cut it for a young team. You want to be able to win with young players, you have to set an example for your players. He has to tell Jalen Green, hey, it's okay. Take your shots what you're comfortable with. Give what the defense gives you, and we'll be fine. Amen Thompson, you're good defensively. Play your defense. We all know defense turns into offense. So get your defense, play well on that, and that will translate to transition points and on the other side of the court. Yeah. He really has to step into that veteran role.
Yeah, and I was watching Steph Curry's post-game conference or interviews with the TNT crew, and then they asked a question, what's the difference between a team that's been to the finals and playoffs, like your team with Jimmy Butler, Curry, Draymond, all those guys, compared to a young team like the Rockets? And he said, not much difference, but the only difference would be that we know that if we're down 10 or down a lot of numbers, not to worry about it because there's 48 minutes in a game. And you can kind of see that in the game today, yesterday, where Curry was missing. I think he missed his first 3 shots, and then he started going to the paint more, started going, doing floaters, made some tough layups and everything. Eventually, he got a shot back later in the game, but the Rockets, as we saw with Jalen Green and Fred VanVleet, they just kept on chucking threes.
Yep.
Didn't know when to stop, when to pass the ball around, or when to maybe shoot closer shots. So the Warriors, they knew what they were doing. They knew that if the shots weren't going down, although Curry is known for his three-point shooting, how good he is at three-point shooting, if it's not working, try something else different. Maybe, as I said, layups, floaters, or maybe pass to Jimmy Butler for another option as well. And
whatever the defense gives you have to take.
Yeah.
If this is going to continue how the Rockets are playing with the lack of experience, it's going to be a short series, to say the least.
Just wanted to point out, 19 minutes, Steven Adams contributed
12 boards.
12 boards and 6 points, which I think is solid for the amount of time he played.
He played a good game. He was arguably their third best player during that game.
Yeah, this is the thing with the Rockets and the Warriors. The Rockets are going to get their offensive rebounds. It's guaranteed. They have size compared to the Warriors. They have Sengun, they have Steven Adams,
Jabari, who's listed at 6'10".
Jabari looked like he wanted to win that game compared to the guards on the Rockets.
Only 25 minutes, which I'm a little surprised about.
Yeah, so the Rockets are guaranteed to get their rebounds, as Coach Steve Kerr was talking about. They're going to get their rebounds. We just got to make sure when we have the ball in our hands to get the buckets in.
Yeah, like I said, it's going to be a short series that the Rockets can't figure out because of that lack of being able to score and experience, which is understandable. But again, you have to have your veterans lead the way, and they just did not do that. Their next game between them is, let me just look,
tomorrow.
I think it'd be tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So we'll tune into that. It'll be a good series. Next one going into Timberwolves and the Lakers.
I noticed you're leaving one for last.
Yeah, and was this okay? And was this an exciting game? Blowout by the Timberwolves, 117-95.
The Anthony Edwards takeover.
Yeah, Anthony Edwards, 22 points, 9 assists, 8 boards, and then after that you have Jaden McDaniels, who I'm sure no one had on their bingo card, dropping 25. Naz Reid with 23. That was a pretty good performance for him.
Naz Reid was shooting lights out.
He was. He played an insane game for them, and then after that, just kind of drops off. Dylan, what did you see from this game specifically? Obviously, everyone looks LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves. You think they'd take away from the victory. Luka had a great game, 37 points, but you expect the Lakers to do a lot better than a blowout.
They just weren't facilitating the ball that much. It was just, there was not a lot of assists that game for the Lakers, I noticed. I believe Luka had like only 2 assists, which I was a little bit shocked about.
1 assist.
One assist, and LeBron, 19 points. He's got to do a little bit better than that if they want to beat this Timberwolves team, who is dominant, clearly.
They're a good team. I don't think anyone was expecting the blowout. Connor, what do you think?
Father time is catching up to LeBron. That's all I'm saying.
You think age is catching up to him now?
Finally catching up, and we're seeing it in front of our own eyes. I'm comparing this to when Shaq was on the Heat with Dwayne Wade, where Shaq was known to be the best player in the league at some points, and then he goes to the Heat, and he kind of takes back that main role and realizes he's the second person on the team. LeBron is just... He's the same person, but he's kind of becoming an old shell of what he usually is. Yeah. And it's kind of becoming more of Luka's team.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's what happens when you're 40 years old.
Yeah.
Even if you're LeBron James.
I think it was at the end of the first half. He didn't have any point, or like he was coming close to the first half, had no points or anything like that. So it was kind of weird to see when we know LeBron's more of that playoff type of guy. Naz Reid was just outstanding that game. He was knocking down threes like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And I think they traded Cat away because they wanted to keep Naz Reid on the team, and Naz Reid wanted a bigger role on the team and everything.
It's showing good for them right now.
I don't like. I would say it's a hot take right here, but I think Naz Reid can do everything that Cat can do because they're both elite shooters.
Well, I mean, I still think 99% of people are taking Cat.
Yeah, but I'm saying he
showed out in game 1 for sure.
For less of a price than what Cat's being paid right now. He's overplaying for his role right now.
Yeah, he put up the points, not quite the rebounds that Cat would bring. But
they have Rudy Gobert for that.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Well, Rudy only had 6 boards, so again, a really fall-off game for Rudy.
Like, if the Lakers want to win a game, man, you're going to have the other guys step up a little bit as well. Yeah. Like, as you can see, like, Rui Hachimura, 9 points.
Reeves, like 16. I'd expect a little more from him as well as the second, third
Exactly.
option.
Austin Reeves with 16 is underwhelming, to say the least. And yeah, might as well sub on Bronny James at that point. Like
Finney Smith only with 3 points. He got had by Vanderbilt 2 points.
Especially with LeBron, like only putting up 19, you got to have others. Like,
you have to have others step up.
Exactly, if you want to win this game, because
Remy?
Yeah, honestly, what I'm going to say right now might be controversial, might not be. LeBron's not the guy. He's not the guy. I don't care what anybody says. He's not the GOAT. Yeah, I've seen this for years now. He's going to show up, but it's also tough when Luka's dropping that many points. Of course, he's only going to have 1 assist. Nobody on that team is making their shots that game. Nobody. And I'm so happy Ant won that game because he's on a fury. He's on a track to win this. I'm telling you right now, Minnesota is. It's not going to be a sweep, but Lakers have no chance. Lakers have 0 chance. Ant wants this more than both of them.
I'm going to go ahead.
I don't like. I'm just saying right now. LeBron's not capable anymore. Luka's the only one that's going to carry this team with Reeves. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I'm going to say this. It was only game 1. I think the Lakers are going to put up way more of a fight than they did in that first game. I don't know what the issue was, if they're just getting comfortable now in the playoffs or what it is, but I think it's going to be still a close and hard-fought battle series. If game 2 goes the same way, then I'd kind of flip on your side, Remy, and I'd say it's LeBron. You might want to retire in the next year or so.
Hey. Oh, no. But what I'm trying to say was when Dylan said Luka only had 1 assist, like obviously he only had 1 assist. Nobody on the Lakers.
A lot of ISO ball.
No facilitating on that team whatsoever.
No.
Hey, I just want to say that Mike Conley only had 9 points compared to Fred VanVleet's 10 points. So I just want to say that.
And they both lost. So actually, Mike Conley and the Timberwolves won.
Okay.
And Fred VanVleet dropped 10 and lost.
We're getting carried by Jaden McDaniel.
Yeah, but the difference is Fred VanVleet had 40 minutes and Mike Conley had 22.
Exactly.
He's showing the players what shots not to take.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
Anyways, Julius Randle also, he needs to control his temper a little bit. I get it's the playoff and the atmosphere is a little bit different, but he was kind of chirping and chipping at the other players, kind of almost getting a technical. So we all know Julius Randle's kind of a hothead. He's been a hothead around other players in the league. He's kind of like that Draymond player. So if you're in those tight situations, just calm down a little bit. You're up 20. Don't get heated at the other players. And
I feel like that's what makes it interesting, right?
Yeah, you want to see that, but again, when they won that game, but say you're in a losing situation, we're only down 5, 6, 7 points, and you're tempering off, you get a tech, now the momentum shifts, now you lose your team points. It's a different scenario. If it's a blowout game like this, maybe it could be a little more physical, maybe it could be more of a little shit, but when it's a close game, which I think it's going to be in the next couple of games, you don't want to be doing anything risky. We know how sensitive and how impulsive these refs can be, handing out texts like it's candy, and how strict they can be on foul calls and all that. You want to be careful, especially in close game situation. But again, when that is a blowout, I'm not surprised to see grit from him.
Yeah, and I also want to see Dante DiVincenzo have a big.
I'd like to see, to see him get up.
He was doing amazing in New York last year, but it's been really different this year.
I don't think he wants to be there though.
No, there's literally advertisements on TV where the Villanova boys are making fun of him.
Well, it's hard to put up points and play well when you don't want to be in that situation.
Okay, but he's in a good position.
He is in a good position, so he should kind of put his tail between his legs, suck it up, and play well.
It's not like he's on the Jazz or the Pelicans.
No, he's on a competitive team with an MVP caliber player, so he really has to step it up. Their next game is tomorrow at 10 p.m. Grizzlies and Thunder.
I knew it. You're leaving your game.
Yeah, the best for last. Grizzlies and Thunder. Now, if we're talking about blowouts, this game was beyond. Thunder win 131-80 in game 1. And I want to talk about this before we get into anything else. I saw Stephen A. talking about on First Take this morning. They're down 50 fucking points, and John Morant is on the sideline, smiling, laughing. You know, this guy's making how much money? He's going through however he has through this, and he's just smiling about that. I don't know if there's obviously the side where you can say, you know what, they're down, whatever. He takes his craft seriously. He'll bounce back next game. Or you're like, what the fuck is he doing? Because think about this. If you're a fan and you're down 50 fucking points and your star player is laughing, losing on the sideline, that's going to rub you the wrong way.
No, I agree with that. I just
100%.
Makes me think that he's gone this summer, to be honest.
Yeah.
He knows things are done there. You know, time to hand the torch to Desmond Bane. But by halftime, I just knew the game was over. Not John Morant. Shai Gilgeous didn't even have that good of. he had a good game, but
He did not have
usually
a Shea Gillis-Alexander type of game. He only finished with 15 points.
usually he gets 30 points. You know, the assists, steals, the fouls, all that. But he only had what? What'd you say?
He had 15 points.
15 points exactly. So maybe this is just a sign of the OKC Thunder having more depth than the Grizzlies. I think we already knew that, but this kind of just proves it even more.
When you're
If
top,
there's gonna be a team to cause this upset, it would be Oklahoma City Thunder, like winning by a lot. To be honest, they're just such a dominant team, and I just feel like they're definitely gonna make it all the way. I just want to say I used to like Jaren Jackson Jr. like before, like maybe his like rookie year coming in, but now I find he is one of the most overrated players I have ever watched.
4 points.
Shit is
points,
crazy.
yeah.
Like his defense is great, man, but
You have to be able to do other stuff other than play defense, especially when you're probably the second or third option on that team.
exactly.
And when Desmond Bain, who we talked about, had 30 in the play-in game, he drops 9 points. Are you kidding me? You have to do more than that if you want to win. If you look at the score sheet, Marvin Bagley III with 17, tied with Ja. How can Marvin Bagley have the same amount of points as Ja Morant? Like, when that happens, take your season and paper, crumble it up, and throw it in the fucking garbage can.
Yeah.
But this Oklahoma City Thunder team,
It's
man,
a
like,
too good team.
They're
They're
a
way too good,
crazy
though.
team.
They
bro.
are. They are. They're overstacked. They have much better depth. Their top player is 8 times the player that Ja is. We know that. But the Grizzlies should be putting up more of a fight than down 50 points.
Yeah. And adding to your Marvin Bagley point that he has 17 points, he had 17 points in 16 minutes, while Jaren Jackson Jr. had 4 points in 28 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, if at one point are the shots not going in for Jaren Jackson Jr., you just put Marvin Bagley in instead of him. Like, I feel like
Do we have how many shot attempts he took?
no, who Marvin Bagley or
No,
Jaren Jackson?
JJJ.
I assume a lot of them. There's no way he's just playing 28 minutes, setting screens and not even getting bored. Just
Someone
setting
else
screens and
had
cardio.
to be able to score, and no one could. Your top 3 options put up 17 points as a high. The other 2 had less than 10 points.
To be fair, the OKC Thunder do have Isaiah Hartenstein at center and Chet Holmgren at the power forward. So those are both 2 7-footers just guarding the paint at all times. So it's going to be hard for Ja Morant to get points when he's known for his athleticism around the paint. He is a good shooter, but he's more known for making his tough shots around the paint. And then Jaren Jackson Jr. is also.
JJJ went 2 for 13 in that game. 0 for 4 from 3. Desmond Bain 3 for 12.
This guy thinks he's
1
Kevin
for 6.
Durant, man. He's not Kevin Durant.
The way they're putting up threes and not making them. Ja went 1 for 6. Scottie Pippen Jr. 0 for 4. This team cannot make a 3-pointer to save their lives. Remy, give it to me.
All I'm going to say right now, not surprised with the scoring at all, because when you have that sort of team, the only thing I was really surprised about was Chet was getting bodied around, and it was hilarious to watch because, like, you know what, man? You gotta hit the gym, man. You gotta put some muscle on because you're not gonna last very long in this league if you have no muscle. You're getting bodied around by a power forward that's 3 inches shorter than you, and you have the wingspan way longer than him to block his shots. I'm concerned for you, man. You're a great player and all, but you need to hit the gym, dude.
Hey, Allen Iverson never went to the gym and he won MVP.
Yeah, but that guy could break somebody's ankle. I don't see Marvin Bagley dribbling up the court.
Kevin McGregor could break his own ankle.
Crossing up a whole team. I don't see Marvin Bagley doing that. No, going back to it though, I know I was really impressed with Jalen Williams. I mean, I'm not really too surprised with his performance though, because he's done it multiple times. But I was really happy to see.
Duke Dennis.
Oh, the starting one. The starting one. No, the starting one. The starting one.
Yeah, fair.
Him played fantastic. Lou Dort playing and doing his thing. Just because Shea wasn't doing well, I wasn't too concerned because you have a supporting role around you that can do a lot of things. You got Caruso coming off the bench. You got Hartenstein in the paint. I'm really not too concerned with this team.
Is this your MVP? 15 points?
Hell no.
I don't know whose MVP that is, but
hell no. Jokic is MVP.
We'll get into that later. Their next game is tomorrow at 10 p.m. If it goes the same way, we know who's going to sweep who. Bucks and Pacers. Indiana took game 1, 117-98. Connor, were you surprised by the outcome? Giannis had a 36-point game. The next closest was 15 by A.J. Green.
Yeah, I think anytime the underdog wins, it's a surprise. But, yeah, the Bucks didn't play as well as I thought they would. The Kyle Kuzma effect, he was just on the... What, did he ever play on the Pistons, or am I just thinking...
I know Dylan pulled up a stat to me the other day. He had, 0 points?
And everything, the Tony Snell method.
Bro didn't put up a single number in a stat.
Yeah, just out there for cardio. Brook Lopez should have had more points too, more blocks. He's known for his defense.
And 3-point shooting.
And 3-point shooting. So
Damian Lillard, where are you, man? I need you badly.
Where's Dame time?
Yeah. The only players who really proved themselves this game, obviously Giannis because he owns the team,
Yep.
but also the role players as well. AJ Green, Gary Trent Jr., and Kevin Porter Jr. All these 4 players are the only ones who seem like they wanted to win the game. Kyle Kuzma, maybe you got to put him back on the bench and be that 6 man.
Well, we mentioned Dame wasn't in the game. He is ready for game 2, so I'm sure the scoring will be a little more balanced throughout.
Still, though, they have a pretty good roster who could.
They do.
They have more people who could score on their teams. And the Pacers, it was kind of difficult watching Gary Trent and Pascal Siakam get into an argument. We both know they're both former Raptors players, so usually when people are on the Raptors, that's a brotherhood for life.
In the playoffs, there is no brotherhood.
Yeah, but when you're on the Raptors,
No, it doesn't matter what fucking team
It's
you're on. There's
just
no
something you don't
brotherhood.
understand.
Siakam with 25 points, Miles Turner with 19. They had a
Yeah.
pretty balanced.
Miles Turner,
Nemhart,
had a really good
17.
game. Siakam led the team. Siakam is the best role player in the league right now. He's
Pascal
not the number one
Siakam
option.
stays underrated.
Stays underrated. He's the best role player in the league right now. Best second option over not best second option, but
Well, if you want to go second
Okay.
option, I don't know if I'd go that far.
not second best option,
Yeah,
but really
not going
great
that far.
role player, and he's been in these spots and positions.
Yeah, we know
before.
how experienced he is in this situation.
Yep, him and Kawhi have the second most points per game in the finals ever.
Yeah.
Just behind MJ and Scottie Pippen.
Tyrese with a near triple-double.
He
Tyrese
played well.
Halliburton.
Obviously, 10 points. You'd want a little higher from that, but 12 assists, 7 boards. Pretty good
12
for him.
assists, you can't really complain about.
Yeah,
the 10
no, you
points
can't
if he's
complain
getting
how he
12
played.
assists.
And they low-key blew out the Bucks, so everyone played well. They were supposed to. Remy, who was the X factor going into game 2?
Threw a curveball there, Sean.
Yeah, okay, my bad. Okay, we'll go. Move on. Dylan, who's the X factor?
Who are you talking to? Are you
I'm
talking
talking. I said Remy. Is her name not Remy no more?
Oh, I didn't hear you.
I said Remy. Who's the X factor going into game 2?
For both teams?
Yeah.
Okay, for both teams, first team for Pacers, obviously Siakam, and then for the Bucks, it's obviously got to be Dame. Now that he's back, it's got to be him.
Dame's
Because
back?
I'm not.
Oh,
No,
shit.
he'll
He
be
is
back
ready to
in game
play
two.
in game 2.
He's ready. So I'll have to say Dame because, yeah, Kyle Kuzma needs to be benched. I would take anybody over Kyle Kuzma on that Bucks team right now. He is terrible. I
Yeah, that
mean,
was
I'm surprised they traded Chris Middleton for him. That was a very interesting trade. Kyle Kuzma had his time on the Wizards, but I think he might want to go back there. Yeah, with that being said, I realistically for the Pacers, if I want to say an actual X factor, I'm really hoping Miles Turner can turn up and get some blocks. I would like to see him as the X factor because we already know Pascal Siakam's going to do a lot of scoring, but I'd like to see Miles Turner as the X factor just on defense because we already know he's got great offense, but I want to see him defensively be that X factor because you know it's weird when your power forward has more rebounds than your center. And also your point guard has more rebounds than your center. I want to see some rebounding out of Miles Turner.
Yeah, that'll be a good game 2 tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Last one before we get into the big boy.
Yo, we want to know my X factors?
And I don't give a shit about your X
Kyle
factors.
Kuzma for the Bucks.
All right.
And Siakam for the Pacers.
Good job. He and the Cavs. The Cavs win 121-100 in yesterday's game 1. Is anyone fucking surprised? Raise your hand.
No,
I did not think
chance.
so.
Cleveland Cavaliers, another team that I see going deep down the stretch.
Donovan Mitchell with a 30 bomb. Darius Garland with a 27 bomb. And Ty Jerome with a 28 bomb.
6 man. That's
I'm not surprised
6
with
man
that.
right there.
Hero tried to do what he could. He had 21. Bam with 24, but not enough for this in-depth, insane Cavs team who had 60-plus wins.
You're going to
I-
mention Davion Mitchell?
Wait, you said Ty Jerome at 21?
28.
Yeah, he's 28.
28, yeah.
I'm gonna relate and compare every one of these games to the Raptors. Davion Mitchell.
All right, moving on to our last game.
was the
Yo,
shortest
comparing to the Raptors, give me a break.
Our ex-Raptor Davion Mitchell with 18 points, 9 assists. I know we let him go, but it's what we had to do. We put him in a better position. Although he is playing the Cavs right now, he had an amazing game. He's that dog.
He had an amazing game, but if you look at his regular season,
Pretty
average
shit.
at best.
he was with the Raptors though during the regular season.
He played 30 games with the Cavs. Or the Miami Heat, sorry. He played 30 games, averaged 10 points.
Which is better than what he averaged on the Raptors.
He's also got way more minutes this year.
But when it
Yeah.
comes to the playoffs, he's playing really well.
He's played well.
He's that starting point guard position where he can guard their best guard. I don't
Well,
wanna
this
say
is
best
what, his
player,
first
guard.
playoff series?
Yeah, because he's been on the Kings this whole year.
Yeah,
his
I don't
whole
think
life,
Kings made the
so-
playoffs when he was on them.
No.
No.
Maybe 1 year of
No,
experience?
they did.
Maybe
They
1 or
did.
2 years
No,
of
they did.
experience.
The one before DeMar.
They,
Yeah.
no,
was on
he
that
didn't
team.
have.
but he didn't play that many minutes because obviously De'Aaron Fox is on the team. But he's a really good defender. I think he should make all defensive team. He's really turned around his career, especially at the Heat. I guess there's more emphasis on his playmaking and scoring now because he is that guard after Jimmy Butler left. So it's nice that he's fitting in well with the team. He's such a good defender, and I'm glad he's doing.
Yeah, the Cavs really, I think, are going to probably sweep the series in 4. You like to see the Heat and maybe put up a fight because everyone loves a close series, but this is one of those where it's probably going one-sided.
And Ty Jerome, that guy got 28 points.
He did.
He's starting on any team especially the Magic.
He is not starting on Orlando. I'll tell you that for free.
You're speaking facts.
He is not starting.
Is that why Paolo dropped 35, which we'll get into in a minute?
Yo, and then what happened to the Magic last game?
You want to get into it now? All right, here we go. And the Cavs and the Cavs and the Heat will play their next game Wednesday at 7:30. Last round of the last game of Game 1. The Magic and the Celtics.
Get the brooms out.
Now, first, did you watch the game?
I didn't have to.
Did you watch the game?
Somewhat.
Okay. Then in the first half.
I watched the game.
Did you watch the full game?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have someone to relate to. Going to at the end of the first half, Magic were up by a point.
Oh yeah.
That was without any bench help.
Yeah.
If you look
I did watch the whole game. Yeah.
The Celtics' big three did shit. And that was their opportunity to win it. They were there for the entire first half, but someone on the Orlando Magic's bench has to step up and put up points. Cole Anthony needs to come in off the bench and drop 15 to 20. Anthony Black needs to come in and drop 10 to 15. Cola Pope has to take at least 4 to 6 threes a game, and he has to make half of them. Paolo Banchero doing every single thing he can, dropping 35 points and 11 boards. Wagner with, I think, 23 he had in the game. Not as consistent as I'd like to see him go. His three-point shooting needs to get better.
Get the brooms out.
That's not a sweep. You didn't watch the game. The scoreboard does not do it justice. The first half was very, very close, but it was just, I don't know if it was the nerves because some of these players haven't had the experience like Anthony Black or Cole Anthony, who had a very, very shitty season, Cavs series last playoffs. These players off the bench need to do something. Isaac had a solid game at 7 points. I'd like to see a little more out of him, but defensively he played his role. Wendell Carter, I think, had 3 points in the game. That is our starting center. He had offensive rebounds that you'd like to see, but he's a guy who, again, starting center. Porzingis, I know I said it before, he's a scary matchup when you're going up against a 7'3" center who can shoot. Porzingis, I think, shot like 1 for 7 from the field.
Only had 5 points.
He only had 5 points. So when he's shooting 5 points, Wendell, you have to hit threes. You have to take it to the paint. You have to grab boards. You have to be able to do something.
Jason Tatum, 14 rebounds.
Yeah, this Celtics big three did not show out. Derek White, watching him hit 3 after 3 after 3 was just so demoralizing, you know?
Yeah.
You hate to see it because I know if Jalen Suggs was healthy playing, that number would be a little low. So it hurts, but this Magic depth team, the bench really needs to come together. I think the Celtics would probably win this series, but if the Magic can do what they need to do defensively and score off the bench, it can go 6-7 games.
Yeah, I thought Kristaps Porzingis was the X factor for the series, but obviously right now it's going to be Derek White. He's an amazing 3-point shooter, 3-and-D type of guy. They stole him from the Spurs, traded nothing for him, and that's crazy because the Celtics are now not now a dynasty, but they're looking to be a dynasty with the roster they have right now. And listen, if you're the Magic, you're not going to win games when you're starting Corey Joseph. I know he's won a championship in the past.
No, I know. And the only reason they're doing that is because our starting point guard is injured.
I would rather start.
I'd rather start Anthony Black because Black has the defense that Cole Anthony doesn't, and Cole Anthony is a bucket getter. He can go and get buckets when he's playing at his best. So having a bucket getter come in as a 6th man can really do wonders for you.
Yeah, and I think, you guys were up by a point, but I think the best chance you guys had of winning this game was when you guys tried killing Jason Tatum.
All right,
through his body.
Calling that a flagrant foul is beyond ridiculous.
Tried killing the guy.
He did not kill him. He barely
didn't, but they tried.
He barely slapped his wrist. When you see Tatum going for a dunk, you're gonna contest. You're not gonna let him get a free 2 points.
Can't even kill a guy. How do you expect him to win a game, bro?
Yeah. Well, Remy,
I don't even know, bro.
What were your thoughts on that game? Because you watched the whole thing.
I was honestly rooting for the Magic the entire time, which is surprising. But I was honestly at the very beginning when Paulo went 1 for 10. I'm like, what the fuck is?
Well, he didn't go 1 for
now?
10. I saw that stat line. I saw the graphic. It was 1 for 10, which I knew was capped. No, I knew it was capped because he hit a 3-pointer and he had another jump shot too. So I knew that graphic was capped.
I saw that stat. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
No, that stat line was capped.
The second quarter comes in, pops off, gets rebounds, third step back threes. I'm like, okay, I see it. Magic have a chance.
Yeah.
Magic have a chance.
I saw that stat line. I
I
was like, yo, Sean's got to address this in the podcast. But obviously it wasn't real. And then after I saw that stat line, Pella actually started making.
He started, and I'm not surprised. He's last season, his first playoff season, he had 27 points. This series, he can what's the fucking word? He can easily average 30 plus.
Yeah, Caldwell Pope playing 35 minutes, only getting 6 points.
That is, you bring in Caldwell Pope to hit the big moments. That's why you bring him in, two-time NBA champ. You bring him in for his experience and hit clutch shots.
Two-time.
The fact that Nuggets and Lakers.
Oh, true.
Yeah, the fact that he only dropped 6 points when he should, like I said, have 46 threes and at least hitting half of them. He should be having in that 12 to 15 range. That very, very disappointing. You cannot see that. This bench has to go off. Gary Harris has to do more than 0 fucking points.
Okay, Gary Harris is just a bum. I don't know why.
He is. He's playing.
He's
so
terrible.
it makes me. There was one of the games during the season where the camera, paying to the crowd during a game, whatever, and this kid, he looked like it was 13 or 14, on his phone, had trade Gary Harris.
You guys should have made at least one trade during deadline.
Yeah.
Should have drafted.
Talking about our GM and our president, talking about all the entire front office. Is so why do you not bring in someone to help this team?
Because you got Corey Joseph. That's why.
You have assets to trade. You have to bring in someone to give options to Paolo Banchero. He's getting doubled. He's getting tripled. He could drop 50 fucking points, but someone else has to do that. So why you don't bring in another good player like Anthony Simons, a point guard who is known to be able to go and drop consistent 25 points per game, is unbelievable to me.
But who knows? Maybe it's just a bad game. You're playing the Celtics, who were they were number 2 seed, right?
Yeah, number 2 seed, defending champions. Like I said, it could be lack of experience.
Could be nerves.
Corey Joseph hasn't played a playoff series. He actually won a ring with the Spurs in 2014, I think it was. So it's been his last time he hit the playoffs was 7 years ago. Hasn't been there in a long time. So that could be a nerves for him. Anthony Black, who didn't get as many minutes as you liked him last season, could be nerves for him.
Isaac doing?
Isaac has 7 points. I'd like to see more in that 10 to 15, 12 range. He defensively played okay, but offensively you'd like to see a little more. But your offense shouldn't fall on Jonathan Isaac. It should fall on Cole Anthony coming off the bench, Caldwell Pope knocking down threes, Anthony Black putting in a couple threes.
But what are you paying Jonathan Isaac $30 million a year for?
Well, we talked about his contract. He makes a lot, but then it goes down, down, and down.
Still.
So
that's a lot of money for somebody who's playing 18 minutes.
But again, it goes down. He makes like 10 mil less season, and then it keeps going down.
I get he got a bad injury and he's barely played for the past few years, but $30 million a year, you got to do more than.
Well, it's going down, but like I said, I'm not going out there and expecting him to drop 20 points. Like I said, if he gets in that 12 to 15 range, I'd be happy with him.
Maybe not score 20 points, but put him on Derek White so he doesn't score 30 points on your head.
Yeah, and again, like I said that before too, like other times, Isaac on the guard is really hard because he's quick and he's got length. But the thing about it is also when you're guarding a small guard, their ability to get around a big screen like Porzingis is hard for a big man to catch up to that. And one of Derek White's points was he did the Luka foul bait or it was Pritchard.
Pritchard had a decent
Pritchard had 30 points. What do you have?
Points?
He played really. I think he went like 4 for 6 from 3-pointer. One of his things that really pissed me off is he did the Luka where there was no time on the shot clock, pump fake, Wendell jumped, and then he did the little lean and got the foul, whatever. When a big man is guarding a small guard, it's really hard for them to keep up with their speed and size. That's why I think putting Isaac on a small guard like that is really, really hard. I'd rather have him on a Tatum or a Brown.
Yeah, but Isaac's pretty agile.
He is
quickly. And he has long arms. I think he has the biggest wingspan.
He has the wingspan and the height. But again, when you're talking about a 6'4" guard who can zigzag over a 7'3" brick wall legend center, it's hard to keep up with that.
You just reach in and get the steal though. I feel like it's way easier with long arms to get steals than
guards usually have better handling than a forward.
Yeah, but when the ball is going towards the ground, perfect time. Maybe I'm just talking because I used to be a steal champion back in my day.
Okay.
But
on 2K?
IRL in real life for people who don't know. Mm-hmm. So when the ball is going down to the court, that's when you steal it. And if you have long arms, I don't know why he wasn't guarding the guards.
Yeah,
I think that'd be a perfect matchup.
I think the scoreboard didn't do the actual game justice. If you actually watch the game, it'd be a lot closer. I think it was just game one nerves. Like I said, they're missing easy-ass layups in the paint they should have had where they've been hitting all regular season. Game 2 is Wednesday. I think it's be a bit closer, a bit better. Paolo, I think he should be able to do his thing. If we can contain this big three to their worst performance, which they just had in game 1, and our bench steps up, we can push it to 6-7 games, maybe even win the series.
Yeah, but what happens if Tatum and Brown wake up next game?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm worried, and that's why the bench really has to step up and do their thing.
I think this might have been your best chance to get a win, because if their best players aren't playing well and it's just one of their side players or role players,
we've also seen though
when they wake up.
Home court advantage takes such a heavy toll if you're playing the Magic. Last season, in the playoffs, the Magic won every single game at home, vice versa with the Cavs. So if you take a game in Boston, my hope would be over the high. But if you go down 2-0, I'm still not counting them out because they're going back to the home court.
It's gonna be tough going back.
It's gonna be tough. Next game is Wednesday. It's gonna be a real game. I'm excited to see them go back to home, but I really think if the bench can step up, they'll have a chance. Moving on, that's playoffs. I want to talk the Hawks, who we've briefly mentioned during the playoff in the last podcast, fired their GM. Remy, what's going on in Atlanta?
Not surprised. They haven't really done anything this season. When you got Trae Young that's doing a lot of things, I'm really not too shocked with their moves because they got to do something, or else you're going to lose Trae Young.
Do you think this is going to call for a total rebuild?
Yes, I hope so. I really, truly do, because I know Trae Young's definitely angry right now with the fact that he's just going nowhere every single season when it comes to the playoffs. He's got to have some sort of change. They got to have some sort of playoff push, and it's just not happening. So I truly believe that it's this time to start rebuilding. We
talked about Zion going to the Hawks, but I really think we should be talking about is Trae going on the move.
That's what I'm saying. Like Trae Young, man, I feel like he's kind of had his number too. I think he's fed up, and I think
and the
he
way
just wants
he
to
went
change.
out.
Exactly, right? And I think they should just start a full rebuild and just trade Trae Young.
They already have young talent, high overall picks. They need to trade. They could probably get at least for 4 first-round picks for him at the minimum.
Yeah, like I've mentioned before, the Hawks went to the conference finals a few years ago. I really don't know what happened since then, because I feel like they've had better teams
They got worse.
No, because last year they did even worse with DeJounte Murray. We all know how good DeJounte Murray is. They had Clint Capella still. They had a lot of young players on the team still. I just don't know why they're doing so bad, because Trae Young's not...
They have a lot of rookies, though, too. Which isn't going to help.
A younger team.
They had some injuries as well.
They also had a pretty young team back when they made the conference finals, too. But also, Trae Young is averaging less points than what he did in the conference finals. I think he averaged 30 points per game back then. Now he's more of a playmaker, averaging 22 and 10 at least. So maybe it's the scoring from Trae Young, but I'm just so confused on what's happening with the Hawks. Obviously, if I don't think Trae Young and Zion will be teammates, because I think if Trae Young's on the way out, then
Trae Young to New Orleans.
Well, I think Zion is also on the way out, which we briefly mentioned as well.
No, they're both on the way out, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with free agency or the summer.
Trae Young, Raptors are open.
I'd like to see him. I'd like to see Orlando push for him.
Debatable.
Trae with Paolo and Franz would be a conference finals team right there.
Yeah, and if the Raptors don't get Jokic or DeMontis
Sabonis, all right. And that's where we move on.
I'll be happy for Trae Young to be on.
Obviously, we know with the whole Maverick situation with Nico and the chants, and everyone's frustrated as a Mavericks fan in that building. I don't know if anyone saw during his press conference today the comments that he made with the questions he was being asked. He said, and I quote, "He should not be fired." What are our thoughts on that?
I don't think anyone wants him fired, right? Nobody wants him fired.
I think the fans want him fired.
I sure do. I'm not even a Dallas fan, and I sure do.
Did you guys hear this?
Bullshit.
No, everyone wants him
it's all over social media.
Everyone wants him fired. It's just the stupidest move ever.
He said, quote, "He's done a really, really good job."
Yeah, I call bullshit on that. His excuse was he can't control injuries. Yeah, you're training for an injury-prone guy.
Did you see that last game where the Mavericks got eliminated? Anthony Davis shot a 3-pointer and then landed and got injured.
Yep.
Didn't even do anything. He just took a jump shot and just landed and got injured.
And one of the things he said about his former superstar player Luka Doncic was really surprising. The quote, and like I said, I'm quoting him here. "I knew Luka was important to the Mavs fan base," he said, "but he didn't quite know to what level." How do you not know how much one of the best players in the league who just led you to the NBA Finals is important to your franchise. He's the reason why you guys made it to the finals. He's the reason why your ticket sales are up. He's the reason why you even have a team there in the first place. I know Dirk is frustrated. I know Mark Cuban is frustrated. How do you not call for this guy's firing? Even the owner said he doesn't understand the hate and all that. Well, it's because they traded the best player they've ever had since Dirk Nowitzki.
I won't understand why these teams go so far in the playoffs, like the Timberwolves of Cat and the Dallas Mavericks in the finals,
and just trade him away.
And they just traded away, thinking they're going to get a better odds with these new players when they already have the chemistry there, they have the experience there. I don't know why they don't just run it back. I think there's something sketchy going on behind the scenes. I think they might be wanting to move to Las Vegas, and then this might be a big reason why they traded Luka.
If that happens, Dallas, get ready to riot.
Like, I can kind of see where Nico's coming from, where he wants to match Kyrie and Klay Thompson's timetable, where they're all 30-year-old experienced players in the playoffs. But again, Luka Doncic is a top 5 players. Doesn't matter if he's 25 years old right now. He led you to the finals, so you don't trade away the main reason you go to the finals for someone who has had experience.
He said they're going to be a championship team next season. Like, pull your head out of your ass, man. Like,
that doesn't make sense.
He really needs a reality check. It's going to be disastrous coming in Dallas, and it's going to be very interesting to see what moves they make in the offseason. Last thing we'll go into, the finalists for the awards came out on the 3 players, so we'll go through briefly of those. MVP, Giannis, Shea, and Jokic. Is anyone surprised?
No.
I mean, I wasn't expecting Giannis, but...
Really?
Giannis is kind of a dark horse.
I think he was having a career year almost.
Yeah.
First time in a while.
Year. No way.
He has 30 points.
It's close to it.
30 points per game, which he did last season. We've seen him have 31 as career high. 12 rebounds, which is the first time he's had that since like 2018-19. He's shooting 3-point percentage, 22%, which is nothing special for him. Yeah, that's Giannis, but he's still putting up insane numbers. He's getting 1 block per game. He's still putting up great numbers. He's 30 years old. I don't think I'm surprised by that.
He's had some crazy games,
especially looking at the injuries of players who you expect to be like LeBron and KD and Luka. With all their injuries, I think Giannis would be.
What was that? The 30-point, 20 rebound game?
Yeah,
like it was like a triple-double or something. Yeah. Like that's berserk. That's insane.
And what he's doing at his level is very, very impressive.
Yeah, I guess this is just the norm for Giannis at this point, so that's why he's kind of gone under the radar.
Rookie of the year, Stephon Castle, Rishashar from the Hawks, and Jalen Wells from the Grizzlies. I think we all know have our favorites on who's winning that.
Yeah, obviously Castle.
The defensive player of the year, Dyson Daniels, who I think is the front runner. In my opinion, Draymond Green, why is his name even up there? Yeah. And Evan Mobley, actually, who might be the front runner. It's going to be an intense battle between Dyson and Mobley for sure.
Well, like, look at where the Cavs are, to be honest. I feel like that's going to play a big factor in the defensive player of the year.
I'd like to see Dyson win because you never see
especially if you see the Cavs go to like deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, no, he was a big reason why the Cavs won so many games. I don't know if postseason is going to play too much of a effect into that.
Guards win defensive player of the year recently.
Well, I think the last one was Marcus Smart, but that was so long ago.
I think Drew Holiday also won one recently too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but watching guards, because the last, I think, 10 to 15 years has been big men dominated.
But since the 2020s, it's been majority guards, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll fact check that in a second, but moving on.
I do want Evan Mobley to win just because of where the Cavs are at right now, and he's just such a dominant defensive presence in the paint where people double think about driving to the paint.
The last DPOI winners, Rudy Gobert, who we know is a center, JJJ a forward, Marcus Smart, Rudy Gobert, Giannis, Gobert, Green, Kawhi, Noah, Gasol, Chandler, Dwight 3 times, Garnett, Camby, Wallace, and it just goes on. The last guard to win it was Marcus Smart. Drew Holiday never won.
Okay.
So, like I said, the last 15 years, even 20 years has just been big men dominated. To see a guard win it like Dyson Daniels, I think would be really cool.
Hey, I have a question real quickly, going back to the defensive player of the year. If you think Adam Silver didn't add the rule where you had to play a minimum of 65
for all the awards,
do you think Wembanyama would still win defensive player of the year if they didn't have that rule?
Yeah, because I think this award is heavily based on blocks.
Because obviously we know Wembanyama would have won the defensive player of the year this year if he didn't get the blood clot and everything. Yeah. So I'm wondering if Adam Silver didn't make that rule, would he still get it? Because I think we've seen people with 40 games, 50 games get added to the All-NBA, Defensive Player of the Year, all that type of stuff. So.
Well, I think also that was like a Joel rule because we've seen Joel miss so many games and he still makes All-NBA. He won MVP a couple years ago. Was he right for adding that rule? I don't know. It's
I
hit or
think
miss.
he added it because he thinks that NBA players are faking the injuries. Or
I
just
can see
wanna-
that too. Load management.
So he thinks they're faking it and they're trying to motivate them to make the All NBA teams to maybe get a little bit more money on their contract and everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going too well. I mean, maybe not 65 games, but maybe 50 games or 55 games, just like a little bit less because there's some people who are a few games off, like Kevin Durant isn't going to make an All NBA team this year, but he's also having a great year.
Yep.
Who at least should have made an All NBA third team.
Most improved, Cade, we know, Dyson, and Zubac. I know, Connor, you favorite Cade a lot. I really think Daniels should be the front winner in this one.
Yeah, I've been moving more towards Daniels now just because I do realize that Cade Cunningham is also a first overall pick, so he is supposed to be
He's
having
expected
this type
to
of year.
He's
have that type of
expected to do
season.
what he's doing. And even since his rookie year, everyone knows how good of a player he was going to be. Dyson Daniels was the 8th overall pick, which still obviously top 10, but not nearly what Cade was in that draft.
Man, if Dyson Daniels gets the most improved player and defensive player of the years, but the Hawks are still doing
That just shows to Goya what's happening in Atlanta.
man, yeah.
Maybe that's a reason why they fired their GM there. 6 men of the year, Malik Beasley, Ty Jerome, Peyton Pritchard. I think
Three good
Pritchard.
candidates.
I think Pritchard should win this one.
Pritchard for sure.
Oh yeah.
Especially with how well he's doing the playoffs.
I like
against
Malik.
the
I like Malik Beasley though.
Yeah,
I think
he's
he had
been
a
good,
great
but
season.
Pritchard was on a 60-plus point team,
Yeah, and I think,
shooting lights out.
I don't know if this was dated or not, but there's only been 5 players, I think, in NBA history who have had more than 300 3-pointers in a year. And Malik Beasley is one of them, which you don't really expect.
No.
He's had a really great year from the 3, and that's someone you can't leave wide open. So it's great to see he's now a 3-point threat.
At least he's
Go off the
getting,
guard.
he's getting a skill. He's getting some acknowledgement. So it's always good to see. Clutch player of the year, Brunson, Edwards, Jokic. It's a toss-up. I don't even know who I'd bet on to
Give
win
me
this one.
Edwards. Edwards is.
They're all really clutch in their own perspective. I mean, how can you not go with Jokic, though? The amount of half courts
Yeah.
he's hits. And
Yeah, like there'll be 2 seconds left on the clock, and then he'll just do like a half court trick shot.
you know, like a
and then-
2K, just fuck it, shoot it up, and
then,
it'll go
shoot
in.
it up, and like, oh yeah, let's go.
Coach of the year, Kenny Atkinson, JB Bickerstaff,
Give me a Cleveland
and
coach.
Udoka. Kenny Atkinson, first coach coming in with the Cavs team, first season as their coach, 65 wins, I think. I mean,
Yeah, the margin between the first and second place team for the East was crazy.
yeah.
I think it obviously
JB did a good job with the Pistons, obviously, being able to form that young team into a playoff somewhat contender.
Although they were really good last year, but
Yeah.
they have an amazing team. Like they're both their forwards in the paint. Jared Allen, 7-foot center, and then Mobley is 7'1" power forward, or at least 7 foot tall. Like, and Mobley can shoot the 3-pointer too. Like they have such a nice roster that play well together. So
With
They
Ty
got-
Jerome coming off the bench.
and Ty
too.
Jerome
Yeah.
too off the bench too.
But no
So,
matter how good your team is, it takes a good coach to put all that together. And the fact
I
that
don't know. I think Joe Mazzulla is not helping the sell.
it's his first season as the Cavs coach, and he did better than they did last season. And they really didn't change that much, except trading like LeVert.
I think Ty Jerome was on the team last year.
Yeah, no, I think it was.
Yeah, so maybe it is a coaching change.
Yep.
I don't know who Ty Jerome was last year.
Still more to come in the postseason. They'll announce all NBA teams, all rookie, all defensive, executive of the year, all that and all that. So thank you guys for joining me on the Gameplan Podcast. We'll see you next time. Playoffs are happening tonight. I don't know if we have a score check on the Knicks Pistons game or not, because I know they're probably done, if not the fourth quarter. A minute 50, and the Pistons are up by 2. So the Pistons could end up taking that game. Knicks look like they made a hell of a comeback. So we'll catch up on that. We'll see you in the next episode. Have a good night.